you cannot find your book, make sure you searched well. Okay, search on ISBN, maybe ISBN of the prior edition of the book, maybe you made a typo, etc. But even then, if you cannot find your book, it's not a problem at all. It's maybe even more an opportunity. Okay, so let's say you really cannot find your book. What do? You click on fill in book details and you create the book in the system. Okay, so you type in the title of the book, the author, and the edition. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of how this works. So I make a total fake book, say test book 2018 1 or something. The author is myself, Chris, and I give the ISBN number. So 978 and then this is the ISBN number. It's a fake ISBN number. Okay, so I click start studying, and now this book gets created in the system. Okay, so I'm the first person who's studying this book. Again, this is an opportunity. You know, so many students just think, okay, I'll just buy the summary, I'll read it, and I'll pass. It doesn't work. Okay, so I get so many emails and messages from students saying, okay, I imported all the flashcards from the books. You know, I've been reading them, but I have failed. Now I need to start all over again, and I'll create my own cards. Now that's the way it always works. Okay, so I'm the first student in this book, and I create my first chapter. So I say chapter 1 is introduction, and then you see that in the left side of the screen, the table of contents starts to be built. Now I'm going to add more courses, more chapters to it. Okay, so I click edit. And I say chapter 1 is, for example, USA, chapter 2 is China, chapter 3 China, chapter 4 is Netherlands, whatever, okay? And then I can even say, okay, chapter 2.1 is New York, chapter 2.2 is Washington. And then I say save, and now the table of contents gets saved and built in the system. Okay, so now I click on the chapter I want to study, and I create my flashcards, okay, and my notes. Now normally, if the book is already studied, this pick cards tab will be filled with cards. Okay, so there are flashcards and notes available for this particular chapter, but now I'm the first. Now this is a good thing. Okay, so now I'm reading the content in chapter 2.1 New York, and I start making flashcards. So I say, how many people live in Greater New York area? Okay, and I don't know the answer now, but I'm just saying something like 6 million or something. And then I save the card, and this is my first flashcards on the chapter. Now I've been studying now. Okay, so this is the way you study, and then you create more flashcards and more flashcards, and then you go to the next chapter, and then you create flashcards here again. Now this is the way you should study. If you just import flashcards from others and you just read them by printing it over here, or you just start practicing them, the learning experience is much less. Okay, when you want to study something, you need to create the information again in your brain, and that you do by making flashcards like I just did, and then you start practicing them. Okay, so now you click on start practice, and then you get the table of contents above the flashcard, and you see the flashcard here, how many people live in Greater New York area, and you get the answer 6 million. Okay, so this is the way you study. This is the way this is going to help you a lot with getting, you know, constructively good grades, etc. And you know, if your book is in the system, of course it's great. I mean, you can just use it. I'll give you an example of how this works. So you go to add a book. So let's say I'm studying on, I search on psychology. Definitely have a lot of books on psychology available with good cards in it. So let's say I want to study this book, Health Psychology. It has 1543 flashcards in it. So I click on it. I get to the study screen, and now you'll see that my cards, pick cards tab is filled. Okay, so I can just click on this chapter, and I can click on the chapters I want to study. I see it's a Dutch book with an English title, doesn't matter, just for the example it's completely clear. And you click on a chapter and you pick the cards of people that you like. Okay, so I like this flashcard, I like this flashcard, etc. Now you see that this is a very passive way of studying. Okay, so now I have these flashcards that I clicked on in my tab, my summary tab. And now all I can do is read them and practice them. Okay, now it's important and it works, but the learning experience is much less. Okay, so you will learn more when you make your own flashcards and you practice these. All right. Well, I hope this helped. You can always send me a message via WhatsApp, and very good luck. I wish you all the best. Bye bye.